Hi, I'm Paul with MadCap Software. Welcome to MadCap Central, which is a cloud-based platform that lets you plan, track, and manage the content, teams, and processes that are at the heart of your organization. Now, you've gotten MadCap Central, so what do you do next? Well, let's take a quick look at the interface. There are all kinds of things that you can do in Central, and you see all these options over here on the left side. Each one of these is going to open up a different page depending on what you're after, what you're trying to do in Central. There are also some options up here in the upper right. For example, license settings. You might need to use that from time to time for different things. Now, yeah, there's lots of things that you can do, but what I'm going to do in this video is I am going to focus on the 5 things that I think are really, really important just to kind of get you up and going. And I have lots of other videos on the things that I'm going to talk about in this video that go into much more depth, plus all the things that I'm not going to get into. So I'm going to put a link at the very end of this video. I will also put it in the description, and over time you can just watch whatever you want. But let's get started with the 5 things that I think you're going to want to know the most. First thing I think you're going to want to do is get some users onto your license. So I come down here on the left to users, and you see I already have a handful of users on this license already. When you first subscribe to Central and you log in, you'll just see one person, whoever signed up for it is going to be an administrator. And so you'll just see yourself on there. And I'm going to click on my avatar here and go into permissions. So I'm set up as a certain kind of user, and I have permissions, and there's all kinds of things in here. And the really important thing to invite users is I got to be a user administrator. I am that, so I can invite new people to the license. As you can see here, there are different kinds of users that I have on my license. I have 3 types. So number 1 is author. These are kind of the super users on Central. These are most of the time Flare authors who need to do all kinds of things. They need access to all these options on the left. Now, it doesn't have to be a Flare author all the time. Maybe you have a manager who needs access to certain things, maybe analytics and other things. So they're not technically an author, but you can give them that user type. Another kind of user is a subject matter expert, or SME, and I have a couple right in here. Main purpose for these people is to review things that a Flare author sends to them. They want them to review certain topics and files. And so they're going to be able to log into Central, but they'll only see this reviews page right here. The third type of user is a viewer, and I've got just one in here. And a viewer, it's different from these other types in that viewer user types are completely free. You can add as many as you want. And their only purpose is to see private output that you create and publish. And the reason why they need to be in here is because it's private output. So they need to be able to log in order to see that. Those are the 3 types of users. Now, I want to add somebody else. Very easy. Just come up here, click Add New User, and this wizard just takes me right through it. And you can see I can add any of these types of users in here. Now, I can add many users at a time. I'm not going to go into that. I've got another video for that. It shows you how to invite a whole bunch of people all at once. I just want to add one, so I'm going to click that. I want to add, let's say I want to add another author, and I'm going to add maybe this person, her name is Marge Gunderson. So I will just add her name and her email in here. All right, so name, email, click next. Now, this is an author, so authors are different from the other 2 seat types in that they can be set up to have permissions to do all kinds of things. And you can explore this in another video. A lot of these are really self-explanatory. You know what they are. And if you're not sure, you can just go ahead and deselect them or select them and then click next and change them later. So I'm just going to leave these default selections for Marge, give her access to all that stuff that you see selected. Click next. Now I can associate Marge with certain teams. So that is another video where you can see all about teams to organize users, use teams for different purposes. Maybe right now, I am not going to assign her to any team. I can always do it later if I want. Click Next. There is a summary. Click Send Invite. And now it is sending the invitation to Marge. And I can click Close in here. And you can see right here that I get a little red dot here. Says if you, it's basically telling me if I click that to refresh it, I'm going to see Marge Gunderson added here. She's invited. She hasn't yet accepted and set up her profile. Once she does, she will be active. One thing that you will very likely want to do in Central is to upload or bind your Flare projects to it so that you can do all kinds of things with those projects up on Central. So I'm going to come over here to the left to projects, and you can see I already have a couple of projects that I've uploaded. One's called Module 1, another Module 2. Now, to upload your projects to Central, you don't do this from Central, you do it from Flare, so let's go there. I have this little project called Module 3 open, and I'm going to come up here to View and MadCap Central, and I'm already logged in, so you can see my information. If I weren't, you'd see a login button, and you just click that and log in to Central. Now I'm going to just click this little guy right here. Brings up a dialog. I have my name. I can add a description if I want. I'm just going to click OK. It goes through the process of binding this project to Central. And in just a few moments, you get this message that the bind was successful. Click OK. And this area over here populates, letting you know it is now up on Central as well as down on your desktop. Now I am back up in Central, and so I can click refresh. And there is now my Module 3 project. Now, what you can do with a project, it kind of depends on whether you have access to that project and what your permissions are. I'm going to come back here to users, and I'm going to click on Marge Gunderson's profile. I just added her. Now I need to give her access to this project. So I'm going to click Edit, and there's my Module 3 project. Click that, save, and she is now associated with it. And I can go into permissions, and you can see all the things that she can do with projects. She can push and pull, manage reviews, all these things. Maybe I want to give her the permission to delete builds as well as these other things. So I'm going to click Save, and I'm done with that and can close. Something that you might find really, really beneficial in Central is the ability to hook up your project or the output for it to analytics. And so you see this analytics option over here, and you can see I already have set this up on some other projects before. Now, you don't have to do this, but I think this is a really, really important thing. It's so easy to do and so useful that I think most people are probably going to want to do this. Let's go to a Flare project where we want to hook up analytics. So this is our Module 3 project, and I am going to go into my project organizer, and I want to do this on an HTML5 target. That's what it works with. So I'm going to double click that to open it, and I am going to come down here to Analytics. All right, and under the provider, select Central, and I'm already logged in. So now I'm just going to create a brand new key, and you can name this whatever you want. My project is named Module 3, and maybe this is versioned, and so maybe I'm on version 5 and I want to track what's going on with that, and maybe this is online help, so I'll just name it that. Click OK and save. Now I want to get these changes up onto Central. So I look down here and I get this number 1, which means, hey, you made a change. So I'm going to click on that, go to pending changes. This is source control. And so I am using Git to tell it, hey, I've got this change. This is what it is. So I added an analytics key. I'll just add that as my comment and click commit included. Now I get the number down here, and so I can click this to do a synchronize between my desktop and the cloud, the copy of the project up on the cloud. And I am just going to click OK. All right, so it is finished. All my numbers are 0 down here. Let's go back to Central. So back on Central on my analytics page, I can click refresh, and there's my analytics key. So I can click that, and now I'll be able to see all kinds of data about what is going on in the output when people are searching for certain phrases or opening up certain topics. I haven't published this yet, so there isn't anybody, nobody's done anything with this. But if I were to open up, say, one of these others, all right, you can see the activity that's going on. So using analytics is very, very easy to set up and very cool, and can be really useful to help improve your project over time. If you want to build output in Central, you got to make sure that you're associated with the project. I have lots of projects here. Let's say I want to build output for this module 9. There's my avatar. I'm associated with the project. But I also need permissions. So I'm going to go up here to my profile, go to permissions, come down, and you see all these things under builds. Well, run schedule builds is what I want. That's going to allow me to generate output for it. Click cancel. Now let's open this project up and let's go to builds. Over on the right-hand side, I click Create Build. Now, the first thing that I need to do is select a branch. Branching might not be familiar to you, but it's something you should get to know. It's a really, really great feature. Even if you haven't embraced branching, your project has at least one branch, which is called Master. But you can create additional branches. For example, here I have one called Feature 1 and Feature 2. I have some translation branches, and there's my Master branch right there. This allows you to have variations of your project for different needs. And I do have a separate video on branching that you can check out if you'd like to learn more about it. I'll just select this Feature 1 branch, Targets. So now I select a target, and I've got lots of them in here, online and PDF. I'll just select this one right here, my online help, and that is an HTML5 target. Click Next. Now, if I've had my project translated into other languages, I'll have translation branches, and I could click here and I could select those branches if I want. I'm not going to do that in this example. If you want to check out multilingual output, I do have this other video which will walk you through it. Let's just click Next and then click Build. So now it adds this row in here, and you can see this right here is changing as the build is progressing. And you can move your scroll bar over and see other columns, different information about it, and click here to control which columns show up in that grid. And now it's done. And I can expand the row, and I can click here to view my output. I have other options here that I can select. And I can also click this tab and set up schedules to build automatically in the future. So that's how you build output. Not only can you build your targets, your Flare project targets up on Central, you can also make that output accessible to your users through what are called sites. And that is over here on the left. I'm going to click Sites, and I have a bunch that are already set up for some of these other projects and their outputs that I have on the license. Now, in order to do this, you got to make sure you have the right permissions. So I'm going to click my avatar, come down to Permissions here. And what I'm looking for is this option right here, Manage Sites. I've got it, so I am able to create the site. So what do I want to do? Well, I have this project right here, module 3, and I just built some output. I only have one, output for it. If I had multiple, you'd see lots of rows in here, each with a different ID. But I'm going to create a site for this, and all a site is, it's a collection of information about that output. So it's the domain, the path, the domain name is this output live, and so on. So, real easy way to do this is just click this plus button right here, give it a name. So this is module 3, that's the name of my project, and Let's say that is version 5. I want to separate out from maybe other versions and help, name it whatever you want. Domain, you can set up your own, but I'm just going to use the one that comes with Central. fictionsoft.mcoutput.com, not going to give it any vanity, anything like that. I just want to quickly get this output out there so that it can be viewed by basically anybody. So I'm going to click down here on build, and I need to choose what project. Module 3 is what I'm working with. This is my HTML5 target. This is the only one I've built output for. What's my branch? I only have one. I have master in here. If I had multiple, I could select a different branch. And then I'm going to scroll down here to build, and I only have the one build in here. I'm going to select that right there. And I want it to be live, so I click Set Live. It's set to included in search engines. Click Save. And that's all done. So now I cancel out of that, and you can see that it added it right here, and this little icon lets you know it's live. All right, and if I kind of expand that, there's my URL that I could send to people. Again, there are a whole lot more things that you can learn about, not only the things that I just showed you, but many other features in Central. But if you learn these 5 things, you are going to be up and running in no time. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.